digitization program. Digitization has created that democratization of participation in growth, of being able to partake from the benefits of that growth. And everyone was here looking at how fast and impactful it has been created. Just from July 2015, when we were 123 in the world in terms of per capita data consumption, last year, India was number one. India consumed more per capita mobile data than China and the US put together. 41% of the world's real-time transactions last year happened in India. 41%. We did 48 billion transactions. China was number two at 18 billion. And by the way, last year in October, we already touched 8 billion in that month itself. That means we are now at 96 billion run rate of the year. See how fast it is happening. And how everyone is now wanting to follow the Indian digital structure story which we have and wanting to adopt it for themselves. In fact, even we had a G20 panel, which has been working for the investment promotion agencies and including our invitee countries. And the focus now there is how we can help them with the same level of digitization and share with them our success story and help them execute and implement it. You know, each of these pillars are the core pillars of growth. These are the pillars of the future. And we have shown how in a short period of time, with this government's leadership, we've been able to bring these special initiatives completely based on outcomes and how these outcomes have been achieved in such a short period of time. I think this is what everybody is now acknowledging.
All right. So that was quite comprehensive. Thank you so much for that. I know you have to go for another session. Davos is still not over for you. My last question before I let you go, quickly. There would be some fantastic side stories of your 7 days there, of course, dovetailing with the India story. Please share just a couple of them, or even one perhaps, of the soft power of India perhaps that was on display at Davos.
I must tell you, one of our senior ministers just walked out of the lounge and the entire street was mobbed. Everyone was wanting just a photograph for them. The entire traffic was closed. That is the kind of everyone's focus on India today. And I must tell you, those were not just Indians, but people from across the globe just flocking to get a photograph or a selfie and blocking the entire traffic on that street.
All right. And was the Indian chai there at the Davos Square?
Absolutely. The masala tea was the hottest.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Deepak Bagla there, MD and CEO of Invest India, hawking for India, in fact, there at Davos World Economic Forum, joining us live from Davos. Thank you so much. And of course, we'll have a follow-up conversation when you're back.
Looking forward, and you all have fun.
Thank you so much. All right. So this was sort of planned after this session, but I think he had one more engagement, and that's why this ended up happening in between our conversation. But really, it helps, gives some tailwinds to the conversation we are having. We have discussed the strengths and weaknesses. We have to quickly discuss opportunities and threats as well of the Indian economy. And you were, in fact, Professor Patnaik, you were actually going a little in detail on the fiscal situation. I'll go to that. But opportunities, for example, China going down wobbly. They have reported just 3% GDP growth, which is their lowest in the last 40 years. So is that an opportunity for us? For example, Europe in disarray. Does it help us? Of course, we don't want the war to continue, but does it really help us in any manner on the economic front?
Of course, Abhishek. Let me put it in perspective first. Look at China. 10 years back, we're giving example of China. Everybody is giving example of India, which I told in my class that is going to happen 10 years back. Look at the situation now. What happening is now is pandemic Chinese growth was plus 2.2. I repeat, it is plus 2.2, 2020. We had minus 6.6. It was the highest in our history of negative growth.
Right.
Now China is far below than us. Whatever policies or whatever, that is the reason. Now, seeking opportunities, you asked me one question on skill. So I will just take this audience. We have, skill is an important thing, but we never discuss in Indian context the foreign language. I will give an example. The Eurozone growth rate is 0 by the World Bank statistics, 2023. So they have to take their growth rate to some positive level. Similarly, the UK growth rate, UK is fine because English is there, US is fine.
Right.
But many places in Eurozone, you require a local language, Germany, France, and all those things.
Right.
So we, in the education institutions, besides technology, we have to look into this.
All right.
So this opportunity you have to take.
Okay, Kavita, according to you, are opportunities and some threats? So for example, if I look at opportunities, our defense exports are growing. Our engineering capital goods exports are growing. I was looking at this interesting number that till just about a year and a half back, our toy exports were just about 300 crore rupees. That has increased to about 2,600 crore rupees this year. So that's one opportunity where you're looking at manufacturing becoming a strength. Or some threats, private capital. Even Shamika Ravi was mentioning that we are not having as much private investment, we have not had as much private investment over the last decade as we would have wanted to. So according to you, opportunities and threats.
Yeah, so the opportunity arises now from one of our weaknesses, that is our low share of manufacturing in overall GDP. Okay, now that there is so much of focus on increasing manufacturing, you have the PLI schemes which are coming, you have incentives which the government is giving for different sectors. So this is an area of opportunity. And we are just talking about China plus one, right? There's a new terminology which has come into being, minus China. Okay.
Yeah, he mentioned that. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I missed that. So you have a minus China. So it is that kind of interest that, companies, overseas companies have in Indian manufacturing capabilities, which they know currently we may not be there, but we will be reaching there given the focus which is there. And it's not just PLI schemes. You have the connectivity issues. You have your Gati Shakti, which is there. You have your national logistics policy.
Yes.
All of these which are over time, or it will be not too far in the future,